All right, welcome back, everybody. Zach Gelb Show, Fox Sports 920, the Jersey, coming to you live today from Miller's Ale House in Mount Laurel. If you want to come on by and grab a Corona Light, 554 Fellowship Road in Mount Laurel, New Jersey. Let's shift the conversation to the Philadelphia Eagles, and no one better to talk some birds with than John Clark from Comcast Sportsnet, who joins us right now. John, thanks for a few minutes, and how are you?
Good. How are you doing today?
Well, I'm doing great, and I appreciate the time. So before we talk a little EAGLES Eagles, I know you're a big Bruce Springsteen fan like myself. How about the boss the other night going 352 strong at his age?
That is pretty remarkable. I think it's a North American concert record, a 4-hour concert. And I am actually in the parking lot right now at MetLife Stadium doing a little tailgating and getting ready for tonight's show here.
Oh, well, how about that? So when was your first Springsteen concert? I'm jealous of you right now.
My first concert was actually at the Link on the Rising tour in the early 2000s. It was one of the first concerts, or the first concert at the Link, actually.
So what's your favorite Springsteen song?
I got to say No Surrender.
Oh, okay. I'm a big Rosalita fan, but I do like No Surrender. So it's incredible, though.
Rosalita's a great, fun song.
Yeah, no doubt about that. It's really incredible how at his age, and I've seen him twice on this tour so far. I went to Baltimore with a bunch of buddies, and then I also saw him at the Wells Fargo Center when he played Jungle Land, which was just so great. It's amazing at his age that he's able to produce at this rate and just go on for almost 4 hours. Can you think of an athlete in sports, or maybe a few athletes that at their age they just even got better with age? Because it's remarkable what the boss is doing.
Well, that's a great question. What I've always compared the boss to is Allen Iverson, a guy, when you go to see him perform, you know he is giving you every single ounce of what he has inside of him. And at 66 years old, to see the Bruce get out here and perform these songs that he's done, I guess, for 30 to 40 years, and you see the enjoyment on his face like it's the first time he's doing it, and he gets so much enjoyment out of it, you can't help but feel the passion and get enjoyment out of it as well.
Yeah, the connection from generations to generations is a neat stuff. I always go to the shows with my dad, as John Clark joins us right now from Comcast Sportsnet. So let's talk some Eagles. Lane Johnson plans to sue the supplement company over his pending suspension. Your reaction to the way Lane Johnson has handled this situation?
Well, I mean, in his situation, if I were him and had signed a crazy financial contract like that with the Eagles, I would have made sure that each and every single product that I took and put in my body, I would know what was in it. The NFL Players Association said they would provide testing for the things that he puts in his body. And I wouldn't order online. That's one of the things that he did. So, look, he's going to have to pay the price, especially after having served a 4-game suspension before. I would be extra careful. But, hey, if he wants to go ahead and sue the manufacturer, I would too. If there was a product that said there were certain ingredients and then there was something else in it like peptide, I would go ahead and do that. But you know what? And I think he realizes that he's got to be a lot more careful, and he says he's not going to order supplements online anymore, which is smart because you don't know what you're getting all the time.
And I understand. At first he rips the NFLPA, and now he's going the litigious route because there's a lot of money on the line with that $36 million, which he may not get now because of the failed test. And we'll see what happens with the B sample, but it doesn't look positive for the Eagles. I on that Lane Johnson really needs to look himself in the mirror and also read into a dictionary and just look up the word accountability, because I don't see him taking a lot of accountability when at the end of the day he controls what goes in his body.
Yeah, you're absolutely correct. And then that's the way the NFL and the NFL Players Association, they all view it the same way. So, yeah, he's got to own up. And it better not happen again, because then you get suspended for 2 years. But I think he's going to change some of the ways he goes about these things with supplements.
Can the Eagles trust him?
That's a tough question right now. You don't know. That's up in the air. You can't necessarily, you could write him in pen before, but maybe you write him in pencil in the future. Not only at right tackle, but he was they were aiming for him to be the guy that would replace Jason Peters if this is Jason's last year or the year after. It certainly is the last year or two of Jason Peters, and you were hoping that Lane Johnson could be your left tackle because he certainly got some, left tackle money in his contract. But right now you can't totally trust him.
And if Lane Johnson isn't there, as we're talking to John Clark from Comcast Sportsnet, which many of us expect him to miss those 10 games, how do you evaluate the offensive line without Lane Johnson? It surely does regress, but how do you view the other big boys up front?
Well, they did pretty well in Pittsburgh. They played well together, and the Eagles do like Alan Barber to fill in there. He was going to fill in for Lane a couple years ago when Lane got suspended the first 4 games, and then Allen was lost for the season. They do think he's a good tackle, and they really like Isaac Seumalo. And Isaac is going to miss Saturday's game in Pittsburgh, but Doug says he'll be back for the regular season opener. It's a big question mark on the team. It already was going into the season because of the age and what happened with Jason Peters last year. So they cannot afford any other injury on the offensive line because then it puts everything in further flux. And they traded Dennis Kelly. So it kind of shows you if they would trade Dennis Kelly, backup tackle, who could possibly have to jump in there if Jason Peters goes down, it goes to show you also how desperate they were to upgrade the wide receiver position.
Now, I've been living in Philadelphia for a little over 4 years, and I just never remember a season when fans go into it and they don't feel a whole lot of hope. It's been a lot of negative feeling, and I've been very negative about this team. And I like the defense, but when I evaluate this offense, I just don't see a lot of talent at the offensive position, whether it's on the offensive line, at the quarterback, the wide receivers, or the running back for this season. But one player that it's a low-risk, high-reward kind of scenario, maybe someone that does have that talent that they brought in through the trade not that long ago was Dorial Green-Beckham. You saw him a little bit, to a lot of people's surprise, in Pittsburgh. But what are your expectations as he gets ready for the dress rehearsal in preseason game number 3?
Well, let's hope that he can improve on some of the things that he wasn't doing correct in Tennessee because he's got all the physical skills. When you're looking at 6'5" and 230 and the speed that he has with the size, he's a great red zone target. But, the thing in Tennessee was coming in every single day for practice and for work and for film study and being consistent and running the proper and correct routes that you're supposed to run. He wasn't able to do that on a daily basis. He'd have a good day, then a bad day. So, this is a guy who's being given a second chance here. He was a highly rated receiver coming out, could have been a first-rounder. So this is a guy who's being given a second opportunity, and let's hope that it kind of flips a switch because that sometimes does happen. It changes scenery, a wake-up call like, wow, okay, I could be out of my NFL career if I don't shape up here. So, I can't tell you that I know he's going to improve and change his ways, but he seems to be saying all the right things, and he's got a good attitude. Let's see how he does with some possible first-team reps on Saturday night.
I know with the preseason, we don't like the preseason, but the beauty of the preseason, and this is why I'm hesitant when people demand and implore the NFL to change it, is because you find players 49, 50, 51, 52, and 53 on your roster, and you see the competition of some of the unknown names over the last few years in the NFL, like a Malcolm Butler make the team, or Julian Edelman back when he was a 7th-round draft pick with the Pats. It seems like one of those players that has been surprising a lot of people and that should make this roster, and it's a big reason because of the way that he's played in the preseason, has been Paul Turner. How have you been impressed so far with Paul Turner as the Eagles wide receiver?
Yeah, he doesn't drop anything. He's consistent, and that's something the other receivers haven't been. Makes an incredible one-handed catch, and he's running very good routes. And as I said, he doesn't drop anything. It's a numbers situation right now, and that's why this third preseason game is going to be fascinating because you've basically got 3 or 4 receivers fighting it out for a couple of spots. We really haven't seen much from Reuben Randall. Really haven't seen much from Chris Gibbons. Josh Huff, you keep wanting to see that ability that he has to make plays when he gets into space. And the speed that he has, haven't seen it enough, but he's got the kick returning duties that may give him an edge. So if you're going to keep 5 receivers, it's quite possible maybe they keep 6 or put Paul Turner on the practice squad, but it's a total numbers game. And I think a lot is going to be shown in this third preseason game because you're going to see these guys get more opportunities playing most of into the third quarter. It's all going to come down to this game here.
On the way out with John Clark, who joins us from Comcast Sportsnet. This is the Zach Gelb Show, broadcasting to you live today from Miller's Ale House, powered by Corona Light. Let's get to the defense because that's where the positivity is with this team, and they made an addition bringing in Stephen Tulloch. How do you think he fits on this team? I do like his veteran presence, especially when you lose a player from a season ago in D'Amico Ryans.
I think it's a good signing, and I think it was inevitable. I mean, they've been talking for 3 to 4 weeks, and this is a guy who knows exactly how to play a Jim Schwartz defense, will do the correct things. And you look at the guys that Jim Schwartz has brought in from Buffalo. They're all going to be starters. Ron Brooks is maybe going to be the slot corner, but he will start. And then you've got Leotis McKelvin on the outside. He's going to start. Nigel Bradham, he's going to start. So it would not surprise me that if Stephen Tulloch gets caught up here, that he could possibly be the middle linebacker, and you see Jordan Hicks move out to the Will or Weak side linebacker spot because that's what he did play for a couple seasons in college that were cut short by injury. And Jordan Hicks is one of those guys, if you can get him into an open area, he's going to get after the football and go after it and going to make plays. He was their biggest playmaker on defense before he got hurt last year. So it wouldn't surprise me with Michael Kendricks not having shown a lot because of his injury so far this year that is a move that's made. It just depends on, I think, if Jim Schwartz sees enough out of Tulloch that he can get in there and play. I mean, this is a guy who did play all 16 games last year, and he led the Lions in tackles. So he may be 31, and he's played a lot of games because he's only missed games in one season when he did the discount double-check celebration for his ACL. This is a guy that I think Jim Schwartz trusts, and he wants those guys in his defense that he can trust and know exactly where they're supposed to be and help other guys line up properly and run the defense that Schwartz wants.
Yeah, and I know, and he has a lot of 100-plus tackle seasons in his career, and he's a good veteran, and I think it's a move that enhances the depth at a position that needs it. But I also think maybe Jim Schwartz took a page out of the late, great Buddy Ryan's book of a player like Michael Kendricks has had his up and down, so you bring in a strong veteran maybe to get that motor up of a Michael Kendricks.
Yeah, could be. Michael Kendricks was out there at practice as soon as they signed Tulloch, so that could be a wake-up call, too, that, hey, there's competition at these positions now, because there wasn't before. They did not have much depth at all at linebacker, so now there's competition at those positions, and they know they have to play their best. Nothing wrong with that. Lighting a little fire.
Yeah, no question. Before we let you run, everything seems so positive with the defense, and everyone expects this Eagles defense to be great this year. How good do you think they can be this year, John?
I think the first couple games, I think you're going to see an adjustment. It takes some time, to get everybody on the same page. But I do think that with the defensive line and the pressure that they hopefully can get without blitzing a whole lot will then help your coverage. You can have more defensive backs back in coverage because you can trust that they're going to get pressure on the quarterback with the front four. And I really like Jordan Hicks. You saw the playmaker that he was. And the defensive line, as I said, I think is the standout part of this football team. Then you've got the safety position, and I think they're a lot stronger there now. They're hoping they could be one of the best safety cannons in the NFL. Hopefully the corners are going to be okay. That's a little bit of my concern on the defense. But, look, I think Jim Schwartz knows exactly what he's doing, and there's been players who have had their best years under him, especially on the defensive line. So I do think that this unit is going to be the one that's going to carry this team. And it'll be the reason if the Eagles are in the hunt for the division, the defense, I think, will be the reason.
Well, I'm jealous of you because you are going to see Bruce Springsteen tonight. I have to wait a few more weeks until I get to see him in Philadelphia. I guess the most important analysis that we'll have for you today, over under 325 tonight for the boss when you're seeing him tonight.
Oh, he's going over. I don't think he's doing 4 hours again. He's not doing 4 hours again, but, maybe 330, right around there.
They're not monitoring his pitch count, but we appreciate the time today, John Clark. Thanks so much.
You got it. Keep up the nice work.